Welcome to this episode of The Lindsey Anderson Show. I'm so excited for today's episode because it's about mindset, but real tactical ways to approach this mindset portion of growing your business. Now, I've been in business for the last 20 years, and if there's one thing that I've learned, it's this, is that strategy alone is not enough. Yes, it is a huge part, but if your mindset is holding you back, no amount of posting, pitching, or perfecting will get you the results you want. So today we're tackling mindset blocks with our guest, and we're talking about those mindset blocks that keep business owners from showing up powerfully and closing deals, doing what they need to do to build their business. Now, before we hop into this episode, for those that are ready to turn social media into a sales machine, apply now for a free social media strategy session with me by heading to lindsaya.com/apply. For serious business owners, if you're struggling with social media, you're sick of posting and guessing what will actually bring clients, and you want to plan out a strategy, all you need to do is head over to lindsaya.com/apply. You and I will get on a call, and I'll share with you exactly how to make that happen. Now, let's dive into today's episode.
Are you ready for next level growth in your business? Welcome to the Lindsey Anderson Show, where we pull back the curtain on the exact strategies, tools, and mindsets that build million-dollar empires. If you're hungry for more time, more freedom, and a whole lot more impact, you've come to the right place. Buckle up, because we're about to ignite your business journey. Now, here's Lindsey.
This episode is brought to you by the BAM Agency. Done for you social media that actually drives results. Not just likes, but high ticket sales. If you're ready to turn your content into a client generating machine, grab a free strategy session call by heading over to lindsaya.com/apply. My guest today is Miss Grace Redman. She is a powerhouse entrepreneur, success coach, and speaker who has helped thousands of professionals break through limiting beliefs and achieve next level success. She's also the best-selling author of Can I Live? Dare to Go from Effed Up to Fabulous, and the host of Real Talk with Grace Redman's podcast. Please welcome to the show, Grace. Welcome to the show.
Lindsey, thank you so much for having me. I always have a great time with you.
Yes. Today we're talking about how to bust through those mindset beliefs. So a certain percentage of your success in your business is related to mindset and limiting beliefs, because if you're not thinking the right things, you're not doing the right things, and then you're just not going to be able to have the success you're looking for. Grace, you're going to help us with this today. What got you interested in this? How are you an expert in this?
Oh, thank you for calling me an expert.
Yeah.
And so I achieved a tremendous amount of success, and then I just felt burnt out and unfulfilled. And while I was on my journey, I realized or I learned that 95% of the way that we live our life is based on unconscious limiting beliefs. And I was floored. I was like, oh my goodness. So wait a second. So I'm sabotaging my own success because of my belief system. And so at that point, I really started to dive deep into my belief system and to the stories I was telling myself around business, money, relationships. I mean, I just broke it down in every area of my life. And I realized, holy cow, I've been telling myself these stories that are sabotaging me. And that's where I started, with the stories. And I started with what was the area of life, which area was the most challenging for me. And I said, okay, what are the stories I'm telling myself? And I wrote those down. And that's where I start with my clients.
That makes sense. So I know that limiting beliefs and those stories about what we think other people think about us, or whatever those stories are, really affect most business owners when it comes to being consistent in marketing, putting themselves out there in sales. So how, from your perspective, does mindset play into all of that?
Well, it plays in because I had resistance around making the sale because I didn't believe I was good enough. There was a point where I didn't believe I was good enough. I wasn't going to make the sale. So if I show up and I don't believe I'm good enough and I'm not going to make the sale, that's a belief and a story that I'm telling myself. So there was a mindset shift that was necessary there because I was consistent, because I would show up and I would you know, make the connections, make the calls, but I wasn't closing the business because I didn't believe I could. So there was a big mind shift right there.
Is that you don't believe you can. So all of a sudden, you now realize I'm actually thinking that I don't believe I can.
Yes.
So what does that look like in your life when you're showing up that way, like literally?
Well, when you're showing up that way, I also believe it's an energy game. Because if you're not believing in yourself and you don't have the confidence in yourself, when you show up, you might show up with a smile on your face and be gracious. However, energetically, the other person can pick up that you're not sure about yourself, that you're not sure about what your offer is. And if they pick up on that, they're not going to buy from you.
That's right.
Bottom line. You have to be certain and have conviction, number one, in yourself and what you're sharing and what you're bringing to your audience.
Have you seen some other mindset beliefs show up in business building, marketing, and sales that you could share with us that maybe your clients have had?
Sure. We're not showing up because of perfectionism. We believe that whatever we're working on needs to be perfect before we put it out there. And I know that we've talked about that, and social media, is a big marketing channel for so many business owners. However, I understand that less than 1% of people on LinkedIn post. And I asked my colleague, why do you think that is? Fear. So that's a mindset right there. So that's holding you back.
Now, one of the hardest things about this whole mindset holding me back is, do you have any tips to know that we're actually in that cycle? Because sometimes you can't see the label from within the jar and actually know it's your belief that's holding you back, or even what that core belief is.
That's true. And that's where really making an intentional effort to block time off. Maybe it doesn't have to be each day, but maybe block time off each week to sit down for 1 hour and recognize, okay, this area in my life isn't, this area of business isn't working. Ask yourself, why isn't it working? See what comes up, and then just start writing whatever comes up. I promise you, you're going to have an aha moment.
Yeah. And for what, my personal experience is, the second the unconscious becomes conscious, so you take long enough just to realize something, then that for me has been, oh, now I can move on. Like now I understand this and I'm going to watch for it. Is that the case, or is it deeper than
Yes.
that?
Well, it can go deeper than that. However, I really believe that once we have that awareness, there's something that shifts in our mind. And then our mind begins to bring us examples to debunk our story. Does
Yeah,
that make sense?
sure does.
Then we're like, okay, that's not true. This can be done a different way. And once we have the awareness, then our mind's like says, oh, okay, it doesn't have to be this way. It can be this way. And then
Yes.
what happens. I know it's not magic, but we call it magic. And then the opportunities, possibilities, the people, the information starts to align to help you get to that next step, to reframe that story that you were telling yourself, to create a more empowering story.
Yeah, it's really powerful. It's really powerful.
Yes.
Now, how do you know that it's your mindset holding you back? What does it look like? That it's not a skill thing, but you got a mindset thing going on.
What could, of course, we have to be transparent and honest with ourselves. You'll know if it's a skill thing. That you just have to be honest with yourself. And you also have to be honest with yourself if you really aren't putting in the work. If you say, oh, I'm being committed and consistent, but you really aren't, I mean, come on, own it.
Yeah, look at the facts. Write it down. Yeah. Yeah.
Own it. And so in your mind, because we have 90,000 thoughts a day, and 70,000 of those thoughts are negative. What's going on in your mind?
I like that.
And we distract ourselves. So sometimes we don't hear that voice, because sometimes we could feel guilty, we can feel ashamed, we can feel less than. So it's really getting honest with yourself.
I like that. All right, Grace, you teach a really powerful method called the SOAR method on how to really master anything sales, marketing, your business. Can you walk us through these 4 steps?
Sure. And so the first step is to shift, like we just talked about. Shift your mindset, shift your habits, shift your priorities, shift your routine, shift the way that you're taking action.
Okay. So
And
first you recognize that you need a shift and you got to change. You got to change these endless cycles that keeping you in the same spot.
right. And the other piece is own your confidence, own your power, own where you suck, because we're not perfect. There are areas we need to get better on it and own that. There's nothing wrong with it.
Now tell me a little bit of that, because that's kind of like, I feel like the title of your book, Can I Live? Dare to Go from Effed Up to Fabulous. Like you're owning something there. Can you
Yeah.
tell us just a little bit more about that?
Well, look, we're not victims of our circumstances. Yes, there are bad things that happen. I've been through a lot of adversity. You've been through a lot of adversity. Our circumstances don't define us. And I also need to take accountability and own my part for where I am. So in my book, I went through all of these challenges, and there are many years where I felt like I was the victim. I had to own the fact, like, okay, what was my part? Well, I allowed people to treat me the way they did. I was a people pleaser. I was codependent. And so that's where you have to take accountability and own our part.
Makes sense. If your content isn't generating sales, it's broken. At the BAM agency, we fix it. We build intentional systems that bring in consistent leads, convert DMs, and grow your business, all without the overwhelm. Want to see how it would work for you and your business? Book your free strategy session now by heading over to lindseya.com/apply. Okay, so we have shift, we have own. What's next?
Then we need to act and take action. I know so many of us take massive action, and yes, it does take massive action at times, but really, is the action we're taking intentional or is it busy work?
Can you give me an example of that?
So intentional is, as business owners, there's 50 different networking events we can attend each week. There are 50 different phone calls we can make. I found myself early on doing it all. That's not intentional. That's self-sabotaging, fear of missing out. That's not coming from a place of conviction and trust. So that's what I mean by intentional action, being discerning on where you're investing your time and where you're taking action.
Makes sense. Can you dive a little bit more into action around consistency and kind of what you have found out around that? Because there's a lot of entrepreneurs that are excited and they love the thrill of the chase and they love the thrill of a new idea. And so they just new idea, new idea, new idea. But this acting thing is more than just taking action, as you said, intentional. But what about this consistency thing? What are the beliefs that you've seen?
Right. Consistency is king. It's
Yeah.
key. And I loved what you shared, that one mistake that entrepreneurs make is chasing the next shiny object. And so ironic, because I heard that same statement later on that day or the next day. And I'm like, oh my gosh, Lindsey, you're in my head. And consistency is, okay, really be discerning on what are those activities that I'm going to focus on, because we can, like I said, we can focus on so many different things and stay consistent with those. We cannot go to the gym and get on one machine for 30 seconds, another machine for 30 seconds. It's not going to work. Like, pick your platform.
Yeah.
Is it LinkedIn? Is it Instagram? Is it TikTok? Sure, we can be on all three, but pick one where you're going to focus most of your effort.
And do you think, Grace, that is ultimately a self-value problem? Like you don't value yourself enough to be consistent or run things like a business owner? Like you don't think you're there yet? What do you think?
Oh, sure. We could totally take that there.
Yeah, I think so too.
We could
Yeah.
totally take it to, when we're not staying committed and consistent, we don't trust ourselves. We're not grounded in our worth.
We don't trust our previous decision, so we're not going to stick with it.
Yes. And
Yeah.
so you took it to like that deeper level. Absolutely.
Okay.
And just having one thing that I may not be the most talented in, everything, but I'll tell you what, I'm consistent and I'm committed and I know I will get there.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Now, I want to ask one more thing about ACT, which is this idea of, is that, in business, especially like you have, it's such an emotional thing, right? Because you're always stepping up to bat to get rejected and this is your thing and you're leading. Like, there is a lot of rejection just intrinsically involved. And so a lot of business owners make decisions within that rejection mindset sometimes, right? Versus data-driven decisions. And so I always like to say, and I'm curious on your feedback on this, which is like, when we say act, like we want to ignore how we're feeling right now and act like the person that we feel like we should be and where we should be. And I have found that to be a total hack of the system, is to act like the person I want to be instead of the emotion. Can you share some insight on that?
1000%.
Yeah.
I love acting like my future self at all times.
Me too.
It's worked magic.
You honor the feelings and you're here and thank you for protecting me. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and act like
Yes,
you can go against your feelings and still act.
absolutely. And, and sitting in silence, doing nothing can also be an act.
Oh, amen. It's the hardest act, actually, Grace, and the best thing you can do, in my opinion. Yeah.
Yes. And oh, I love my future self because it's fun. It's like a game.
Yeah.
It's like a game. How are you going to get to your future self? You need to start today.
Yeah. And if you aren't personally there already, you need to step into that role and play the game that way anyway. And it is fun. It's like,
Yes.
it's fun. It's all in your own head and you enjoy what you want to be now.
Yes, absolutely. It's so funny because when my husband and I first got started, I said, listen, I read this in a book. We have to act like we are millionaires. He goes, what do you mean? I said, we're going to go to a really nice restaurant.
Hell yes.
He's looking at me like I'm crazy. I go, we're going to go to a really nice restaurant. And I went and picked the highest end restaurant in San Francisco. And we're going to not look at the price. We're going to order everything that we want and not look at the budget, not look at the price. He goes, you're insane. I said, no, I'm not. We have to start living like that. So we did that. Once a month, we would go to a fancy restaurant, order whatever we wanted, because I told him we have to embody our success. And he reminds me of that all of the time.
Grace does not mess around when it comes to acting. Love
I
it.
do not mess around.
I love it. It just gives you a higher level of experience. You now know what it's like. You've let it into your sphere. It's so
Yes.
powerful and fun. So,
And we need fun. I really feel like we miss out on the fun. I wish I could have put, the acronym for fun in there, because fun really raises our vibration and then it opens us up to possibilities that we may not have imagined on our own.
it's true. That's true. Okay, let's get to the last part, the finale here. Grace, the final letter is rice. Tell us
Yeah.
about it.
When we get intentional and we really look at our belief system and our mindset and we begin shifting our habits and we start owning our part and we start taking intentional action, you are going to rise to that next level of success, personally, professionally, whatever that may be for you. And then you can just constantly repeat those steps and you're going to rise. There's no doubt about it. You and I have been through many of life's storms, personally, professionally, and really at the end of the day, it's learning how to soar through those storms. Instead of getting paralyzed, we're going to soar and rise through the storms, and that's what builds resilience, confidence, and will prepare us for whatever's next.
I love that. I love that. All right, Grace, let's talk about AI real quick before I let you go. So, AI is changing the way we work and the way that we do mindset work. How do you see it affecting your work?
To be transparent, for me, AI has been a game changer. I know there has been tremendous fear around AI, and initially, I also felt the fear. However, I chose to lean in and educate myself, and AI for me has really helped us save tremendous amount of time and elevate our business. There is more that I need to learn. However, anytime there's something new on the horizon, there is fear, and I understand that. And also, what are some ways that your business can embrace AI to help you run your business more efficiently, to free you up to do those connecting with your audience, with your community. So for us, it's been a game changer.
I love that. Do you use it, Grace, in terms of mindset work? Like asking good old chatty about, hey, based on what you know about me, what are some mindset belief work that I should work on? Have you ever used it in any context like this?
I haven't done that yet. However, I've brain dumped when I have an idea that I want to share or have an idea for a newsletter. I brain dump, and it's oh my gosh, AI comes back and says, wow, you're really committed to this process. Because I'll go back, no, that doesn't feel good, doesn't have a heart. It
Interesting.
really does. It comes back and says, wow, you're really dedicated. Let's try again. I'm like, no, that sucks. I don't
Yeah.
like that. That doesn't sound like me. Make it have a heart. I want heart. And it just keeps going. And it's, wow, it keeps telling me, like, wow, you're really committed. Let's try this again.
Oh, how interesting. I love it. Okay, Grace, what a fun interview. Thank you so much. What is one thing you want to leave everybody knowing today about what we talked about?
I want everyone to leave knowing that if you have a dream in your heart or you have an idea in your heart, it wasn't placed there on accident. Go for it, go after it, because if it's there, it's possible. Don't let anything stop you.
I love it. Thank you, Grace. I'm going to turn the time over to you. Tell everybody how to find you and anything else you want the audience to know.
All right. Thank you, Lindsay. You can find me at www.graceredman.com. You can also Google Grace Redman and find me on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, and Real Talk with Grace Redman. So thank you so much for having me today, Lindsay. I really appreciate you.
Thanks for coming on, Grace. There you have it, folks. Another awesome episode of The Lindsey Anderson Show. If today's conversation really hit home for you and you caught yourself nodding, or if you know the shift you need, don't just listen to what we said on this show. Take action. Mindset is not just a nice to have. It's the foundation of how you show up, sell, and scale. And if you're ready to stop spinning your wheels and start turning your social media into a real sales machine, I've got you covered. Apply now for a free strategy session with me by heading over to lindsaya.com/apply. Let's build up an action plan that actually works for you on social media and to actually build your business. Now, if you got value from today's episode, please subscribe and leave a review. That is how the show grows. Thank you so much for your support. Until next time, I'm Lindsey Anderson, and cheers to you and your success.
That's a wrap for today's episode of The Lindsey Anderson Show. If you loved this episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share how you're leveling up your business. Want more? Connect with Lindsey Anderson and get the tools you need to crush your goals at lindsaya.com. Until next time, keep pushing, keep growing, and turn those business dreams into reality.
Thank you for tuning in. If you got value from this episode, share it with a friend and hit subscribe. And if you're ready to stop posting and praying and actually generate revenue, let's talk. Book your free strategy session by going to lindsaya.com/apply.